Alright, so I bought this boat real cheap. Somebody had it up on Facebook for 500 bucks. Said come get it out of my yard. Has a title, whatnot. Boat itself needed a little work. I will do a more detailed video on that. But I just want to talk about the trailer and some things you need to look at when you get a trailer, especially when it's real cheap. First thing, the lights did not work at all on this trailer. It had cheap incandescent ones. It had this style of lights, but they were incandescent, which basically what happens there is if the running lights on the truck are on, it means your tail light's on, so the bulb is hot, and then when you back the boat in the water, the bulbs shatter. So I replaced them with LEDs. So I have all lights now. Second thing is, on these older trailers, a lot of the newer ones just have a cap on the end. It's like a rubber cap on the end of the hub, and then they have a grease fitting in the axle stub. But these older trailers, they have what's called a bearing buddy a lot of times, and that's just a grease fitting on there, and it just allows you to easily pump grease into that. So this side had the bearing buddy on it, but when I took it apart, the bearing and everything was full of like rusty grease and whatnot. So I took it apart and cleaned it all out, and the bearings did look okay, but probably in springtime, it's almost August now, probably in springtime I'll pull them apart, replace all the bearings. But the reason that happens is because there's a seal on the back side, and that seal wears out, and then same thing, when you dip the boat in the water, that hub fills up with water. And if you don't re-grease them, if the seal's worn out and you don't re-grease them, you should re-grease them either way, basically every time. But that fills up with water and starts to rust inside the hub. Now this side is missing the bearing buddy completely, and with the seal worn out, I almost wonder if that's better to not have it on there. Sounds counterintuitive, but this way at least the water can spill out. One thing I haven't looked at is the date on the tires yet. It is this number here, 4321. So that was made in the 43rd week of 2021. So that's still okay. That's still got a couple of years. Tires have good tread on them. I haven't aired them up yet. They seem like they're holding air just fine. Gotta make sure they're the proper load range, which not so much the load range. See, there's a load range E. But make sure the actual capacity. See, it's 2,470 pounds. I don't think this boat is more than 5,000 pounds. I'd be pretty surprised if they put a 5,000 pound boat on a single axle trailer. The other thing you'll notice, this is a roller trailer, which I'm not a huge fan of. I prefer a bunk trailer. Reason being, if you're going down the road and something happens to your winch cable, that boat will come right off of there, if that's your only means of securing it. So what I'm going to do is, there's a hole drilled here. I'm going to put a secondary chain on here. And actually this is supposed to be down. There's supposed to be another rubber roller here. This is supposed to be down in between these two. So I'm going to put another chain on here with the mouse on that hook leaves a lot to be desired. But the biggest thing that you want to look out for, aside from just making sure the thing's going to go down the road smooth, well, I guess that is one of the biggest things. Make sure when you plug the lights into the thing, they're going to work. That's the biggest thing that is going to ruin your weekend, is trying to have to sort out trailer lights on your boat trailer when you're just trying to take your family out on the boat. And then if you get stopped for a light not working, you get a ticket for it, it's really going to ruin your weekend. And the biggest issue with these things, aside from the trailer lights like I explained, is the wiring. So I'm upgrading this wiring here. This is what was on it. Do yourself a favor and get rid of these stupid four pin connectors and go to a 7-pin, 7-blade flat connector. These are just so much more reliable. They're way more secure. They don't get corroded nearly as bad. And to me, they just look nicer. I like stuff that looks nice. I don't like the way those stupid 4-pins look. Along with just these not bare wire, but just the 4 wires going back to the trailer looks cheesy. I don't like that too much. And then, so eventually I'm going to redo all of this. Like I'm going to put grommets in these where they can rub on the steel. That'll probably be a springtime project. And we're going to run all the wire in this black stuff. It's like loom, but I like this better than loom. Let's see if I can post a link to that, to where I got that. So they just had this, like this basically, and then going straight into the trailer. It can rub on the steel and this ground here. And the problem with having a ground like this is if there's rust in between this coupler and the trailer tongue, you'll lose your ground and you won't have trailer lights. Then even when it gets a ground through the ball, you still won't have it here, because the same reason you wouldn't have it because of this, because of corrosion in between here. So I cut that off of there, and I just ran the 4 wires into here. I got this stuff at Tractor Supply, and then I just got a light pigtail, and I could have used this one, but I just didn't like how it's already cut up. You got a green for your ground, which is supposed to be white, and I don't like reusing stuff like that. So I got a new pigtail, cut the stupid 4-way off the end of it, put the 7-way on, put the loom on it, and now I'm gonna tie it into here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill a hole right in here somewhere and have my ground on the outside, and then I'm gonna take this. Now I have a kit of these, all different sizes. If you're gonna do any amount of this kind of work, do yourself a favor and get a kit like that. And it's the same thing with these little crimp lugs. These little crimp-on eyelets. Get yourself a kit of these. Get yourself a kit of these, and just have the stuff, so that way you're more inclined to do stuff the right way when you go to do it. So yeah, this stuff just keeps it from chafing, and then by having that secure in there with that eyelet, with that grommet, it can't rub on the edge of this trailer frame and cause a short, and then, like I said, your lights don't work, it ruins your weekend. Yeah. And also with this metal plug, it comes with this bracket that you bolt to the side of your trailer tongue, and it gives you a place to rest the pigtail, so it's not laying in the dirt and the shit when you're not using the trailer. One other thing you want to look at is your safety chains. These chains, make sure they're at least a decent size for whatever you're pulling. I believe these are 1/4-inch chains. You'll say these hooks look new. That's because they are. The safety chains looked to me like bungee cord hooks when I picked this thing up, which, I mean, they were smaller even than this. That's obviously not going to hold the trailer, so I replaced those with something. Make sure they have a mouse on them. Yeah, that's about what I got on just going through your trailer. Whenever you buy something like this, there's deals to be had, but a lot of time they just take a little bit of maintenance to get them to where you're going to be happy using them and not be a pain in the butt every time you go to use the thing. So that's all I got. Thanks for watching.